One of the richest states in India, Karnataka, will vote on May 10th. And this biggest election we're going to see, especially people vote for a better governance. And which party, or rather parties given Karnataka's history, will occupy this power corridors, we will know on May 13th. Today we're joined in by citizens of Bengaluru. Some of the larger narratives by political parties this time around was only about reservation, polarization. But what really happened to the election issues, the real people's issues? So to discuss that, today we just have less than 24 hours before we go to elections. We have citizens from Bengaluru joining us. We have a mix of them, working professionals, elderly ones, and also first-time voters as well. Let me go across to the first-time voter. What's your name?
Hello, I'm Prajwal.
And what do you do?
Yes, I am doing my bachelor's in journalism and international relations at St. Joseph's University.
So this is your first time voting. So what are your election issues?
Yes, it is my first time voting and I'm pretty excited, to be honest.
Okay.
My voter ID was the first thing that I got after turning 18. And given the hype around the elections, I'm very excited.
Okay.
As for the real issues, I live in Jakkur, and there the first thing you would notice is the Jakkur Lake. And you would see that in the mornings and in the evenings, people would walk around, spend time there. It is when you need to have a family time, that is where you go. But then in recent days, there have been a lot of dead fishes around the lakes, which has been causing a really bad smell, and also the roads as well, because the roads were newly paved recently, but they've already started digging it up again. I don't know what kind of plans that they actually follow, but it has been causing a lot of inconvenience.
I know. I mean, citizens pay huge taxes. If you're really talking about in terms of even GDP for that matter, Bengaluru puts in a larger chunk, which is about at least 34%. But Vinod, I've seen you actively campaigning, bringing people's issues out. But honestly, how successful were you? Even have you been able to put out some of the issues to the candidates, or even for that matter, for the parties, what they can really be doing?
Yes, exactly. Actually, we have been working with a lot of them in the RWAs, in the Residents Welfare Associations, as well as in terms of the citizen initiatives that we have. So we have been actually talking to the elected representatives and asking them in terms of what exactly will they do, our roads, our traffic problem, our SWM problem, the garbage issues that we have in the city. And of course, there has been hits and misses, but when we look at it, the misses are more and galore. And
True.
Especially as we really pointed out of the sort of economy and the highest sort of revenue collecting capital of, I think after Mumbai, we are the second highest revenue generating city in India in terms of taxation. But we don't see that in our infrastructure. So as activists, as citizens activists, we don't want to keep actually only looking at the problem statements, but
True.
also are looking for solutions. But that is not happening these days. So that is why, in fact, we are asking the Bangalore voters to turn in and vote. What is happening today is the Bangalore turnout has been very poor, and there's been an urban apathy in terms of voting.
I mean, if you really compare, the 2018 elections, the overall Karnataka, you're talking about at least 72.44%. Now, that was the voter turnout back in 2018. But, if you're talking about Karnataka and Bengaluru as per se, you're looking at a voter turnout just about 57%. Why is that? Because we see citizens come out for actively taking part in protests, demanding the changes that you all want. But why is the voter turnout so bad?
The voter turnout was bad because it was on a weekend and other reasons. But this time, being a Wednesday, and also I think there is some sort of an apathy.
Citizens are also to be blamed.
Yes,
Can
true.
I have the
Yes,
first-time voter also to talk about what are the key issues that you would like the new leaders, the new MLAs of your constituency to focus? What are the issues?
Yes, so my name is Johan, and I actually live in the St. Joseph's University hostel, and I'm a first-year BA economics student. And the issues I actually see in front of the college when I usually walk and when I usually buy some groceries or something like that, I usually see the roads, the pavements are kind of broken, and I see it as a threat for pedestrians. And when we think about it, it's a really big threat for senior citizens. So when they walk, they could actually, face some risk or something like that.
Right.
And the other issue that I see is the traffic. The traffic and the ambulance getting caught in the traffic, which will be an even bigger threat for whoever is going to the hospital or who is facing some serious critical issue. So that is the threat I see. And also yesterday the roads were flooded because of the rains, and I had to jump in.
Yeah, just 2 days
Yeah.
before elections, issues come out right there open. What about you? What do you think are the key issues? Because we have been seeing, reporting, in fact, myself, pollution in the lakes several years together. We're talking about no footpaths. You don't have the basic of the basic infrastructure which need to be given to the citizens.
True. See, we have been facing a lot of problems. Every
Right.
other day we are only complaining. So this is the time we all need to come out and make that vote, because every vote matters. See, we can speak a lot on social media, but the only time that we're going to make a difference is tomorrow, the 10th of May. So this is the reason we've also started a campaign called the 100% Mission Drive all over Bangalore. So active citizens all over have united, and we really want to make that difference. So, stop complaining, come out and vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, can you tell us about the Mission 100% voting, if you can?
The main thing I wanted to share with you, everyone, if they come out, all the 100% what we are aiming for, if they come out, our nature will be protected. Unwantedly, there are a lot of skyscraper, the sky bridges, and they are destroying. Now, if all the citizens, if they come out and when they vote, and there will be a lot of change, and the protection of the environment will be there. All the trees will be taken care, and we have seen hundreds and thousands of trees have been chopped off right before our nose. And the skywalk, unwanted, it's not necessary at all for Bangalore. Now everyone, if joined together, the first time voters and the elders, senior citizens, and so that we can protect our nature and save our nature, and this is my mission.
But I want to know from any one of y'all, in whichever constituencies y'all are coming from, have any candidates approached saying that this is what we are giving in terms of freebies? Any of that? Do any of y'all come from that kind of constituency?
I'm from Shantinagar constituency.
Okay.
I see my MLA, and he is very, very good, and he comes and asks everyone who goes to him or otherwise, he asks, how can I be able to help you? In what way? He protected our All Saints Church on Hosur Road, and so I appreciate our N.A. Harris in my constituency.
No, but what about your infrastructure? Because he may do the good work. I'm talking about the taxpayers'
If all
money.
the voters turn out, I can see.
I believe Shantinagar flooded.
Yes. I beg your pardon?
Shantinagar flooded.
Much as
Yeah.
not as
But I believe as years go by, if things are not fixed now, it will flood.
It will, yes.
Yes. If this is the beginning,
I think, there's a lack of apathy, or rather this thing from even the ministers. In fact, they need to work. In fact, there's a lot of steel flyovers and concrete flyovers being planned.
Right.
But why don't our basic amenities being planned, like your good roads and as well as good drainage facilities, the encroachment of the stormwater drains.
True.
Today, if you look at it, we had put an RTI from Namabengaluru Foundation and found that 612 encroachments have been done. And till today, there is not a clear report from the zones, from the 8 zones of BBMP, that in Bangalore, all these stormwater drain encroachments have been taken away. So
Right.
we need that sort of this thing from the political will, from the political side.
can I have, I've also seen you actively take part in a lot of citizen movements. So if citizens have these issues to talk about, voice in terms of stormwater drains, there's flooding that's happening, but why don't we see more of citizen movement?
citizen movement is
Why are they not aggressive?
certain parts, yes, they are aggressive. That's what the ward committees were set up for. But with BBMP and Zilla Parishad, the elections not being held, the avenue for citizens to engage with the local civic body has been cut off. And everything now depends...
Why so? If you can tell us, why so?
Because the government thought that delimitation with, the increase of number of wards, they weren't getting it ready on time. And that was very unfair to the citizens, because everybody has to now work through their nodal officer and the MLA And then it depends how accessible the MLA is, how often they are calling for the ward committee meetings, and also how seriously the MLAs are taking the ward committee meetings. So you see, I can
No,
give
but
you...
personally, do you vote for a party? Do you vote for an MLA? Do you vote for issues? What do you vote for?
I vote for overall, not just the party or the ideology. You know I'm a complainer, but you also know I'm a doer.
Yes.
So therefore, I look at the overall picture. For me, this election is also a lot about women's safety and security, not just of women commuting and at workplace, but also their freedom of choice and their other rights pertaining to property, land, all that, which we see in rural constituencies is being trampled on.
All right. First time voter?
Yes, ma'am.
You're the first time voter?
Yes.
So what are your demands or rather expectations?
First demand is, as a Shantinagar living resident, it is of the
You're from
infrastructure.
Shantinagar?
Yes.
How accessible is your MLA?
Moderately accessible, I would say.
Okay.
But my first demand would be of the infrastructure itself. So where I live in my college, a mere 15 minutes of rain is enough to create a big flood in front of which students have to, try to navigate through the hazardous roads. The manholes, they are often open. The drainage, they don't flow properly. So it's a big issue that, despite being one of the highest GDP states, even Karnataka in the mainstream of Bangalore, which is just where I stay, it's just near MG Road, it doesn't have the basic proper, infrastructure that we needed. Proper access to road, a proper footpath. We don't have anything at all. So I believe it is wrong to actually simply vote for a party or candidate or ideology, but people must actually vote for the issue itself.
What issues? What issues are you talking about? If you can talk about a few issues in your constituency that for the last 5 years,
Yes.
your MLA has held. I don't think it's just 5 years, for several,
Yes.
terms now. So what are the changes you have never seen, or probably there's a scope for improvement?
See, the MLAs, I wouldn't say they haven't done anything. They have done, of course, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. The first is itself, what I said, infrastructure. So in spite of whichever MLA or whichever party comes to power, somebody needs to take up the task that this needs to be done. The infrastructure needs to be fixed instead of blaming on the other party. Something that I have seen on a lot of people is the lack of empathy. Just because I don't travel by the road doesn't mean that it should not be fixed. People say, but I travel by cab. He walks, it's his problem. He could have taken a cab.
True.
But this lack of empathy is a big issue because he might not be able to afford the cab. No. But it doesn't mean that doesn't have the right. So I believe that lack of empathy among the voter base is causing an issue, and it is something that people should also look into, as well as the politicians. Second is, yes, regarding the job. So the issue with the jobs is, job has become a sort of a dynamic entity. Different political candidates promise of different number of jobs. So it's hard for the voter to see how many jobs are actually there available for it.
Unemployment is a huge issue right now.
Yeah, some candidate says there will be 34 lakh jobs that will be created for the person. The other guy, he counters him and says, no, there will be 40 lakhs vote for the person. So it's hard for the person itself is to see how much of a vote, like how many jobs are actually available. There's no transparency in it. There are, of course, a lot of agencies, skill companies that are there private, but they have reduced the job to a sort of a transaction. You pay the money, you get the service. But not everybody can afford the service, right?
True.
There should be a part of the government as in to tell the people how the job is. There should be a transparency, and like they should at least provide initiative as to how the people should apply for the job to create a qualification. When I came to Bangalore, I was a BA student. So my first thing was like, what would I do to get a job? Like I don't have necessary qualification to work as a software engineer. So I had to go through a lot of people, ask a lot of people to actually know what the qualifications are to actually get through the job. Like I might not get employed as a software engineer, but at least I can apply for some other stuff for in marketing or as in HR. I believe infrastructure and these jobs, these are the two things that I would like political parties and everyone to focus the most.
Have you any time, I would like to ask this question, have you any time missed voting during elections? Have you any time missed voting?
No, no, no.
Oh,
It
you've
is a
always
festival.
voted.
We want to celebrate it. We want to vote it.
You want to vote.
Yeah,
What are you voting for this time?
General basic requirement. For
That's all
senior
the citizens
citizens,
want. The
pedestrians to
basic
walk around
requirement.
for senior citizens, pedestrians to walk around easily on footpaths. All footpaths are encroached. So many issues, minor issues for senior citizens. Basically, we are asking that needs to be addressed. We request every citizen, please come, do vote. If you don't vote, don't come with complaints.
Okay. What about you, sir?
I'm A.R. Nayak. I'm from Shantinagar constituency.
Okay. What are the issues that actually have not been fixed?
About 20-25 years back, it used to be roti kapda makan. Now, luckily, because of the various governments' freebie policies, power is free, water is free, houses are constructed and given, there is no problem on that. But the human beings' requirement has increased. Like now it is, one is, as you said, one footpaths, proper footpaths, parking places, drainage system and stormwater drains.
Yes, again, basic of issues. What about you students? What do you want to talk about? The first time voters.
Definitely for me is the infrastructure, as you said, like 5 minutes rain, super flooded. And I think the transport costs are super high out here. Like for 1 kilometer, they usually take like 60 or 50 bucks. We shouldn't be like that. And
You mean regularization?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
Something I have noticed after my college started is that the roads don't have footpaths properly, and most of the students come to college by walking, and when they are crossing the road, the cars are like too fast, and we are actually scared to cross the road every morning. So I always thought like if there was zebra cross in front of the entrance and all the students can cross, like they can at least feel like it will be okay. And
So we have actually, you're not from Bengaluru, right? Both of y'all. So you're outsiders and from Assam. You don't have your voting here. But we would like to view and hear from you as an outsider. Where are the areas of improvement? Where exactly things have failed?
I think they should improve, as they all said, the floods, the roads get flooded very easily, and I think it's an issue. In most parts of India, they've been facing it for the last few years, the flood and all. So that must be solved in any way possible, because people are really having problems
because for a city like Bengaluru, unfortunately they have failed to keep up with the growth or the population in terms of development. That's where they have failed, the administration. You would like to add something?
Whenever rain starts, we spend restless sleep. Every rains, we are afraid to sleep at all. It is a serious
you're
problem.
worried whether you may drown. Is that what it is? Are you worried you may drown? Is that what the MLS give you?
Area will get flooded like anything within no time.
Yeah, true.
This need to be really, it's a serious matter. Poor man, our
Which
MLA is
constituency is this?
As he told Shantinagar,
Shantinagar.
He is trying to address our problem, but it looks like
unable to
he
keep
is
up
unable
with the
to-
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
expansion. Maybe I can take the last answer from the
So I'd like to talk about the special issue here about substance abuse. Like college students right now, they have a good access to tobacco or like some alcohol and stuff like that. So maybe they can have a ban or like a stoppage on the trade or selling of all these things. Recently, Australia had a ban on the selling of vapes and all those things. So maybe the government can have some rules and regulations put in place so that they can have a ban on these products. And one more thing I've noticed that related to these things, there will be like shops where you get tea and all everything, and there it will be written like please do not smoke here, and that shopkeeper himself or herself will be selling those cigarettes to the college students. So that is really accessible. So maybe that is an issue that should be really addressed apart from all the infrastructure and all.
Well, it's not just the MLAs but also the police themselves who cannot really keep up with their...
Now, I wanted to share this very pathetic situation which is going on in Bangalore. And two-wheelers, they come on the footpath and we are unable to walk. And even in one way, you see the zigzag they're going about, and we senior citizens suffer a lot. And even four-wheelers, they park it on the footpath. It's very painful. And just we walk across the road, we will be killed.
So I'll give you a situation to add to what he's, told. There are a lot of conflicting issues here. You have people, in fact, riding on a footpath. Why? Because the road is not wider. But if you make it even more wider, you have people protesting because you can't cut down trees. So, you have development at the cost of, destruction. So there are a lot of conflicting issues. What could be the solution? Are you talking about a robust transport system? Are you meaning to talk about in terms of the last mile connectivity? Is that what you're talking about?
Actually, the BMLTA has actually been saying, and DOLT has been working on this. The carriageway increase is not the actual solution to the problem. In fact, worldwide, wherever we have a city like Bogota in Colombia, recently we had the professor from there who actually said that public transport, and there should be a lot of actual vehicle population being, that's how the traffic congestion happens. Where the vehicle population has increased in Bangalore, for a 1.4 crore population, we already have a 1.2 crores of vehicles. Especially this has become a two-wheeler city, as the gentleman before me said. It is becoming a major hassle. So the government has to get into the public transport mode, where mobility is a key issue of Bangalore, and that public transport like the suburban rail, the metro, for that matter, in the 5 or 7 years, they only have 70 kilometers. In fact, we should have just touched 150 kilometers by now.
Right.
So that is where the shortfall and the gap is happening. So metro rail, the suburban rail, as well as in terms of the buses service with BMTC should be actually subsidized.
In one of the manifestos did talk about, BJP manifestos, that they want to try and emulate the New York model for Bengaluru. I mean, you're unable to keep up with your basic infrastructure. What New York model are you talking about?
At the end of the day, we elect governments to make sure these issues are resolved.
True.
And I'm sure they have a lot of people that they can make use of to come up with better models, whether it's New York or Germany, anywhere, anything that resolves our issues. But apart from that, I would also like to add one more thing, that as students, we live in PGs, and many of the houses in Shantinagar and in surrounding areas of many universities are really old. And the rent hike in recent days has been enormous.
Yes, we have seen that also becoming a joke on the internet, all right.
Yes, you have 1 BHK rooms for 20k, 25k, and with security deposits of 1.5 lakh and all.
Bengaluru is trying to compete with Mumbai.
Yes, that has been a really big issue for us.
Okay, yes, regularization of rent.
Particular to CBD, especially this Ward 111, the issue with the policing, because both the police stations have to be involved with VIP duty. So much so
that's
that...
a major issue, yes.
Yes, it's a big major issue for this area. I think they need to, government really needs to have a separate VIP department, police department, so that citizens can get basic policing.
All right. On the day of the election tomorrow, I'm requesting every single citizen to ring the doorbell of your neighbors, of your street, of your apartment, of your ward, and remind them that they just need to come out and exercise their vote.
Can we have all,
Another thing that I'd like to add is, before you do that, spend a little time, check all the candidates that have put up their manifestos, their work that's happened, so far. Check their, literacy levels, check the work they've done on the ground, how have they helped Bangalore, what have they done. Do all this and make an informed decision, because that's very important. Don't get swayed by a lot of things that's out, right?
Promise,
so just see who's the best out of the ones that are over there, right? So do that and make an informed decision. That's very important.
That's true. I mean, to end this, can we have all of you all do a shout out asking Bengalurians to please vote? Can we all do that? Yeah?
No vote!
No complaint!
No vote!
No complaint! Go out and
vote.
Okay.
Beke beko.
Vote ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
Beke beko.
Vote ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
No vote.
No complaint.
Well, that's what the citizens of Bengaluru, all that they ask for, the basic of infrastructure, these are certain civic issues that need to be addressed. And of course, just like how, Vinod and other citizens have pointed out, including the first-time voters, all that they ask for is a robust transport system, accountability. If the people are voting you to power, you need to own up. your responsibility, because they have voted you to in fact ensure that you give them a better future. In Bengaluru, with camera person Suresh and Kumar Shrija for NDTV.